You get a call from someone you love. The voice sounds right. The panic sounds real. Someone is crying in the background. Someone is telling you not to hang up, not to call anyone else, not to think too long. And for a second, your body reacts before your judgment can catch up. A few years ago, the voice would have felt like proof. Now the voice is one of the things you have to verify. That is the shift, not the shiny AI conversation, not the polished version about innovation, disruption, and productivity. The real version is smaller. It is a phone vibrating on a hallway shelf after a long shift, a message arriving while you are trying to get out the door, a payment request that looks like it came from your manager, a dating profile that looks real but the rhythm feels rehearsed, a bank text that appears exactly when your attention is already thin. When the voice, the face, and the message are no longer proof, ordinary people are forced to live like their own small security department. That sounds dramatic until you look at what people are already doing. Families are making safe words. Parents are calling children back on a known number before believing an emergency. Workers are slowing down before approving payment requests that appear to come from a boss. Older people are being told to pause when someone claims to be from the bank, the police, a courier, or a relative in trouble. Young people are learning that financial advice on social media may not be advice at all. The new habit is not paranoia, it is verification. In May 2026, a California mother lost more than $5,000 after receiving a call that sounded like her daughter had been kidnapped. She heard what she believed was her daughter crying. She sent money. Later, she learned her daughter was safe at work. The exact technical details of every case will not always be clear from the outside, but the practical lesson is already clear enough. I heard their voice is no longer enough when the situation is urgent. That is a brutal thing to say out loud, because a voice is not just sound. A voice is memory. A voice is family. A voice is recognition before thought. That is why voice cloning cuts so deep. It does not only imitate information, it imitates closeness, and the larger numbers point in the same direction. The FBI's 2025 Internet Crime Report described nearly $21 billion in cyber-enabled crime losses. It also included more than 22,000 AI-related complaints, with losses close to $893 million. That matters because scams are no longer only strange emails with bad grammar. Criminals are using AI-generated profiles, cloned voices, fake documents, synthetic video, and more believable scripts. But the trick is not only technological, it is behavioral. Most people do not fall for scams because they are stupid. They fall because someone has learned how to reach them at the exact point where emotion outruns procedure. A fake bank message does not just ask for money. It creates time pressure. A cloned voice does not just imitate sound. It imitates fear. A fake boss message does not just ask for a transfer. It borrows workplace hierarchy. A romance scam does not just use fake photos. It builds a rhythm of trust. That is where this becomes ordinary life. A man checking his phone after a late shift may now hesitate before trusting a payment request, a crypto tip, a job offer, a dating profile, or a message that looks like it came from a real company. If he works in finance, retail, logistics, customer support, security, management, or a small business, he may also be expected to spot fraud as part of the job. He becomes the human checkpoint between a fake request and real damage. For some men, the pressure comes through performance, opportunity, control, status, a better investment, a fast side income, a crypto promise, a business offer that sounds like ambition but behaves like bait. Finance Denmark has warned about young people meeting misleading financial advice on social media. They reported that 4 out of 10 Danish investment influencers gave poor or directly misleading advice. That is not just a money story. It is a dignity story, because a young man trying to become financially stable can be sold risk as ambition. Women are pulled into the same verification labor through care, family coordination, children's safety, online shopping, dating, emotional crisis messages, and social trust. A mother gets the fake emergency call. A daughter gets the message about her parents' account. A woman on a dating app has to ask whether the profile is real, whether the story is rehearsed, whether the photos prove anything, whether the video call settles it or only performs it better. For women, the pressure often comes through trust and access. Is this person safe? Is this message real? Is this help request genuine? Is this financial advice empowerment, or is it a trap wearing better language? The work is not only technical, it is emotional filtering. That is the sharp contrast. Men are often pressured through performance, opportunity, and control. Women are often pressured through care, safety, and relational urgency, but both are being pushed into the same role. They have to verify reality before they respond to it, and that is a heavy sentence. Because ordinary people already have enough to carry. Work, bills, children, parents, sleep, appointments, transport, insurance, messages, passwords, bank checks, forms. Now on top of all that, they're being asked to ask one more question again and again. Is this real? Not just, do I trust this person? But, can this person's voice be faked? Can this face be faked? Can this account be taken over? Can this urgency be designed to make me move before I think? The old safety advice was simpler. Do not click weird links. Do not send money to strangers. Check the spelling. That world is not gone, but it is not enough anymore. The new safety behavior is heavier. Call back. Use another channel. Set a family password. Do not approve payments under pressure. Do not trust urgency. Check the sender. Check the context. Ask whether the request makes sense. Ask someone else before acting. That is a lot of mental labor to place on ordinary people. And the uncomfortable truth is that institutions still talk, as if more verification automatically creates more safety. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it is necessary. Banks need stronger checks. Platforms need fraud detection. Companies need training. Governments need ways to protect citizens, children, accounts, identities, and public systems. But every protective layer has a cost. And the cost does not land equally. CIFA's reported more than 444,000 fraud cases in the UK National Fraud Database in 2025. Reporting around that data linked the rise to AI-enabled scams, account takeover, synthetic identity, SIM swap fraud, and fraud as a service. Fraud as a service. That phrase matters. It means fraud is not only one person trying something. It becomes a system, a product, a toolkit, a thing that can be scaled. And when fraud scales, suspicion scales with it. The Danish banking sector has seen the same kind of pressure. Reporting on Danish bank fraud figures described criminals attempting to steal more than 500 million kroner in 2025 and succeeding in taking hundreds of millions across thousands of cases. Behind those numbers are ordinary moments. Someone tired, someone rushed, someone trying to do the right thing before the system closes, before the shift starts, before the child needs pickup, before the payment deadline passes, and then the system answers by adding more checks, more warnings, more login steps, more prompts, more prove it is you. Again, some of that is necessary, but necessary does not mean cost-free. Every extra verification step takes time. Every failed login burns patience. Every ID upload asks for trust. Every liveness check asks your body to perform trust for a machine. Every prove you are real process hits hardest when someone has less time, less language confidence, older devices, unstable internet, fewer documents, or lower digital skill. The people least able to absorb friction often meet the most of it, and that is where the care narrative has to be tested, because protection is often sold as clean, simple, responsible, for your safety, for your child's safety, for trust, and sometimes that is true. The EU is pushed for age verification tools to protect minors online. The goal is understandable. Children should not be exposed to adult content, exploitation, gambling, or harmful material. The official argument is protection. But the counter question is not anti-child safety. The counter question is, what happens when protection becomes another layer of identity control for everyone? Privacy advocates have warned that digital ID-based age verification can threaten anonymity, exclude people without proper documents or devices, and create new risks if sensitive data is misused. The harm may not come from the goal. The harm may come from pretending the goal has no price. That is the line here. Protection is real, but so is the cost of protection when ordinary people pay it in time, privacy, stress, and access. The same pattern appears with deepfake detection. Detection tools are needed because synthetic media can be used for fraud, impersonation, exploitation, and misinformation. But the UK government has described deepfake detection as a growing market that is still young. That means the tools may help, but they do not remove the human burden overnight. For now, people are stuck in the messy middle. Too much fake material to trust easily. Not enough reliable detection to relax. So ordinary people adapt. They wait before replying. They stop treating speed as proof of competence. They tell their parents not to trust a caller just because the caller knows a name. They tell their kids not to send money because a friend's account asks for help. They check their bank more often. They become suspicious of urgency. They learn that a familiar profile picture is not proof. A clean video is not proof. A blue checkmark is not proof. A confident voice is not proof. A message that sounds like someone is not the same as that person. And that is sad in a quiet way. Because trust used to save effort. Trust meant you did not have to check everything. Trust meant some parts of life could stay human without becoming administrative. Now even care has paperwork in it. But there is also a hard, useful truth inside this. People can learn new trust rituals. A family safe word is not paranoia. It is a boundary. Calling back through a known number is not coldness. It is care with discipline. Refusing to send money under pressure is not selfish. It is self-respect. Asking another person before approving a transfer is not weakness. It is judgment. Ordinary people are not helpless. They are already changing behavior. They are slower, more careful, and more aware than the "people are dumb" narrative gives them credit for. That narrative needs to die. People are not dumb because they are tired. People are not dumb because they trusted a voice. People are not dumb because they reacted to fear. People are not dumb because a professional scammer found the exact emotional door and pushed through it. A fraud report counts losses. A bank counts cases. A platform counts blocked accounts. A government counts compliance. A company counts risk. Ordinary people count something else. They count how much of the day now goes into asking whether the world in front of them is real. That is the dignity issue. Digital life has made many things easier. Mid-ID, digital post, online banking, public portals, fraud detection, and digital access can genuinely protect people and make life easier. The answer is not to become anti-technology. The old world was not pure either. But useful technology becomes a dignity problem when the burden quietly moves downward. When the system says verify yourself again and again, but does not give people simple fallback routes. When protection is sold as frictionless, but the user feels the friction. When platforms profit from access. When banks manage risk. When governments build identity systems. When criminals scale fraud, and the individual person is left holding the emotional alarm bell. That is why the strongest angle is not AI is scary. It is this. When proof stops proving anything, calm becomes a survival skill. The person who pauses is not behind. The person who double checks is not paranoid. The person who refuses urgency is not rude. The person who says, I need to verify this another way, is doing what modern trust now requires. That is a new boundary. Simple, but hard. If the request creates panic, slow down. If the voice asks for money, verify through another channel. If the face appears on a screen, check the context. If the account looks real, but the behavior feels wrong, trust the behavior before the profile. If care demands more control, ask who pays the price. This is how we reclaim dignity here. Not by rejecting technology, not by trusting everything, not by becoming suspicious of every human being, but by refusing to let speed, fear, convenience, or fake intimacy make our decisions for us. We reclaim dignity by giving ordinary people permission to pause, to verify, to ask for another route, to say no to urgency, to treat calm as a boundary. The voice may sound real, the face may look real, the message may read right, but your life is allowed to have a checkpoint. And sometimes that checkpoint is not a wall. Sometimes it is the moment you get yourself back.